If you want to make life-changing amount of money with crypto, this may be your last or one of the last opportunities to do so. In this video, I'll be talking about a few interesting projects which I think have huge potential in this market cycle, but I'll also explain why now is such an important moment. That essentially, if you are interested in altcoins, you should be making your decision now whether you want to invest in them or not. Because if you keep holding on longer, you may get another shot, but it's not guaranteed. I'm Andy, and this is Crypto Like a Pro, a channel where I talk about everything crypto, NFTs, and Web3 related. So first of all, why do I think that it's such an important part of the market cycle? And why do I think that there may not be many more opportunities to buy those projects at really good price points? Well, let's look at what happened in the previous market cycle. Of course, this time is different. It's always a bit different. But we had a halving somewhere here in May 2020. And then we had this massive run up and a big pullback right here. Of course, we are now before the halving, and the current run up is nowhere near this magnitude in terms of where we were in relation to the all-time high. But it certainly feels very similar to it. And what happened here is essentially we had this big move up, one pullback, and then run towards the new all-time highs. Well, sorry, we had a new all-time high here, but those were the market cycle peaks. Of course, then we had the second peak later on, but it's not guaranteed that every market cycle will play out this way. It may be just one big run up and then that's it. Essentially, then it's just one big crash. Of course, you could quite easily argue that we are now much earlier than we were at this point in the previous market cycle. And we may have more of those pullbacks, which I think it is possible, but realistically, well, after this one, you may get one more, maybe two, but I think that's about it. After that, we should be prepared that we'll be hitting those really, really high numbers, above 100K and so on. And if you look at the current market cycle, well, yeah, we had this massive run up. That's our big pullback right here. We have no idea what will happen with Bitcoin in the coming days and weeks. Those few candles right here actually show that there's a lot of indecision in the market, right? We had some red and green candles which pretty much canceled each other out. We have a couple of candles with really, really small bodies and really long wicks, which basically indicates that there is a lot of indecision in the market. The price stays pretty much in the middle. So we can go up, we can go down from here. And of course, it's entirely possible that the price may continue going sideways and keep drifting down for a bit. That's certainly possible. And if that happens, altcoins, the prices of altcoins will go down quite a bit. But we may also just stay in this area for a little bit and then have another leg up. And it may then happen that we'll just continue going up and up. And even if we do have pullbacks, well, there will be too much higher price points, right? So if you are interested in altcoins, this is pretty much your last opportunity to be early in the market. The reality is that we are no longer early. Being like properly early was sort of October, November last year, but that was a very different market and not many people were willing to invest at that point. But if you are thinking about investing when the market already looks like it's reasonably safe, as far as anything can be safe in crypto, then, well, now is pretty much the last chance before things will start really heating up. And the reason why I think that now is such a good time is because if you look at a lot of projects at the moment, they are massively down from where they were just a few weeks ago. Well, massively. It's all relative, of course, but if you look at something like, let's say, S-Fund or CDFI, that's down, I think it went down about 40% at some point. No, 30%, sorry. Of course, now it recovered quite a bit, but it's still down from the recent all-time high, let alone the previous all-time high. Then we have something like Altura, that's down quite a bit, and it's still actually recovering. It's still down 30% from the recent all-time high. And then if we go to CoinGecko and look at some projects there, a lot of them, which were performing really, really strong only days or weeks ago are now quite significantly down. If we look at something like 0x0, and the same will be true for pretty much all other AI projects. If you look at the last 3 months, it was climbing up, and then recently it's been going down, up and down, but it's still down about 27%. It was down around 30%. If you look at something like OPSEC, that's down 20% from all-time high. Recently, I was really interested in GPU or Node AI. And although it's been recovering really nicely over the last 24 hours or so, if you look at the last month, you see it's been trending down quite a bit, and it's still down 46%. It was down around 50% or over 50%. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of those projects which clearly have a lot of potential in this market cycle because they've been pumping like crazy over the last few weeks or the last couple of months, they are currently down something between 30 and 50%. So if these are the projects you are interested in, well, these are really good entry points. And there is no guarantee that you will get a better opportunity at any point in this market cycle, because basically your only hope for a lower price is if Bitcoin continues going sideways or trending down, or if there is another bigger pullback coming soon. But otherwise, well, if Bitcoin starts going back up, even if there is another pullback, it will not take us back down to the current prices, right? It will take us back to prices at a higher level. So that's why I think this is so important. Like I said, I think we may have another 1 or 2 of those pullbacks, but that's probably pretty much it. So what projects I'm currently looking at? Well, you can watch my previous videos. I will link them in the description and at the end of this video. But essentially, I'm looking around AI and gaming. I'm not really interested in meme coins. I know they've been pumping like crazy recently, but well, crypto is gambling at the best of times, and meme coins are just gambling squared, right? It's just pure speculation. And you have no way of predicting what will go up and how long it will stay up and when it will crash. So sure, you can make a lot of money on meme coins, and if you can, and if you do it, well done to you. But personally, I think crypto is already hard enough to navigate, even if you're trying to invest in projects which make some sense. And meme coins are just sort of next level of crazy when it comes to that, in my opinion. So I'm staying away from that. My strategy remains firmly gaming and AI because I can see how those spaces make sense for crypto. And also I can see that this is a narrative that's being repeated over and over again on Twitter and YouTube. And let's be honest, if that's the narrative that most people will be following, then that's where most of the money will go, right? So it makes sense to be looking at those spaces. So the projects I particularly like are, of course, Altura. I mentioned it many times. I think it's massively undervalued at this point, under 50 mil. No point really talking about it a lot because, yeah, I spent a lot of time talking about it on this channel. It had quite a decent pullback recently, but more importantly, it's nowhere near its previous all-time high. And yeah, at 50 mil, I think that has easily potential to do 10x in this market cycle, 20x maybe even higher. One of my favorites, one of the products I've been holding on to since the previous bull run, really bullish on it. The next one, which I also mentioned quite a few times, is D-Race. Similar story, only around 40 million. It actually recently dipped to something like 35 or so. It had a nice little pullback, but if you look at it over the last few months, it's been kind of going up and down, but not really performing that great. It had a nice pump in December, but it pulled back quite a bit since then, but it's still massively down from where it was in the previous bull run. I mean, technically, this can easily go 20x just looking at that number. And also, if you look at its market cap since the last bull run, something I mentioned in the previous video, that hasn't really recovered since that massive spike right there. what you have to be really careful with is looking at projects which maybe in terms of the price still massively down in comparison to the previous bull run, but their market cap is now much, much higher than it was before, because then of course it's much more difficult for that project to pump. Again, something I talked about in the previous video, but something really, really important to consider. So yeah, really bullish on D-Race. They have some strong partnerships. They have some really big influencers behind them. Market cap is tiny. I think it's only a matter of time when this will pump like crazy. And well, it's crypto gaming and gambling all in one place. It makes perfect sense as a product. So yeah, I think this will do really, really well. One of the new ones, which I'm kind of annoyed I didn't get into this one. It's been on my radar for the last couple of weeks or so. There was quite a bit of chatter about it in Neo Tokyo and on Twitter. And to be honest, it did pump quite a bit recently. So when I was looking at it, it was already quite high. If anything, now the price is lower than it was when I first looked at it. And again, very similar to D-Race, I think this has a lot of potential. It's a much younger project. So if you want to invest in something fresh that wasn't around in the previous bull run, then that would be quite a good option. Nice balance between market cap and fully diluted valuation. Decent pullback from the recent all-time high, well, from the all-time high, 25%. Low market cap, 56 million. I see no reason why this couldn't do equally well as D-Race. So I think it should do about 10x or so quite comfortably. So I didn't get into this one, but it's definitely on my radar. I was focused on GPU at the time because that had really, really nice pullback, and I managed to scoop that up at the bottom of the dip. But yeah, definitely keeping an eye on this one. So these are like my three favorites at the moment in the crypto gaming space. And that's because they all have really low market caps, all around 40, 50 million. Two of them, Altura and D-Race, are established projects which did really, really well in the previous bull run, and they are already doing pretty well in this one. So I expect that they will hit their previous valuations quite easily in this bull run. Moontropica, of course, that's slightly more difficult to predict because it's a new project. But again, I think it's a really, really strong one. I like it. And it makes sense when you are building your portfolio that you have different tokens, right? You have stuff that performed really well in the last bull run. You have stuff that has potential, that's new and it has a lot of potential. You have things which have really low market cap, things with sort of mid or larger market caps. But at the moment, well, I have Bitcoin in my portfolio. I have few higher cap altcoins. The stuff I'm interested in are those small cap altcoins because they have the most potential for growth. A couple of other projects I'm looking at are Myria, slightly higher market cap, 165 mil, but it had a decent pullback since December, down about 40%. Again, a lot of chatter about this one. It's a popular project. And when I see pullbacks like this, that's what I mean, that this is such an important part of the market cycle, because this kind of opportunity may not happen again. Yeah, it may dip another 10%, maybe a bit more, maybe it will be down 50% or so. But equally, it can start bouncing back up, and the potential for the upside is much, much bigger. This is not financial advice, of course. Nothing ever is on this channel, but it's just how I see it and how I navigate this space. Another project I quite like, I didn't mention it in a very, very long time, and actually I got into IDO on this one, although my position is very, very small, is Sidus. Market cap is below 100 mil. It had a bit of a pump recently because Becker mentioned it in his latest video. But again, it has big partnerships. A lot of potential, but I would be a bit careful looking at this figure right here. The fact that it's down 95%, because if you look at the chart, yes, it had this big spike after the IDO and then pretty much crashed and flatlined, which is fine. It's picking up. That's that's okay. But if you look at the market cap, you see this is where what happened with the market cap. And by the way, those big spikes right here, this is when tokens are being unlocked. So like new batch of tokens hits the market. But as you can see, its current market cap or recent market cap is far, far higher than it was in the last bull run, even though the price is massively down. So that's what I meant, that you shouldn't be looking just at the price, compare market cap to where it is now to where it was in the previous market cycle, if the product is this old, if it existed in the previous market cycle. Because I'm sure this still has a ton of potential for growth, but I don't necessarily expect it to go up 20x as the price would suggest. I think maybe 5x or so. Essentially, this is quite similar to CDFI, right? So if you compare it to CDFI, so Sidus is currently sitting at just under 100 mil market cap. CDFI is sitting at 300 mil. And I'm pretty sure that CDFI's market cap is actually pretty close or at a new all-time high. Yeah, it hit 350 recently, and previous market cycle was 350. So yeah, like I said, Sidus comfortably could do about 3x, 4x, because it's a comparable project, maybe a bit more, but I wouldn't expect it to do 20x. Hope that makes sense. Another project I like, which is not out yet, but I'm hoping to get on the IGO, is Bloodloop. That's going to be launched on CDFI. So you can actually register for it. You still have a couple of days. Again, a lot of buzz around it. It should be quite good. And because we are in this phase of the market cycle, when things started cooling off a bit, the price of Bitcoin is down. People are not really investing that much in altcoins. All the craze at the moment seems to be meme coins. So I think that's why a lot of those gaming and AI projects are not really performing that great. I mean, they had a bit of a run up earlier this year, but now they have this little pullback. And I think that's why it's such a good time to look at them and then pick the ones you like the most and invest if that's what you are interested in doing. Because personally, I think those opportunities may simply not happen again, right? If this is the quiet time of the market, because the whole focus is on meme coins, and if anything, the market is cooling off, then for me, it makes sense that people who are making money on meme coins, they will be looking to put that money into something else. When Bitcoin gets the next leg up, and people will start pulling money out of that, or big cap altcoins, I don't know, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, whatever, they will be looking into something to put their money into, right? So I'm sure meme coins will run again. I'm sure NFTs will run at some point. But since that whole gaming and AI narrative is so strong, I think that will be the obvious next thing to go up. So I think that's pretty much it from me in this video. That's why I think that this part of the market cycle is so important. These are some of my favorite projects. If you're not entirely sure what I'm talking about, or you're not sure where to start with altcoins, check out my course on my website, Crypto Like a Pro. I have a couple of courses there. And Intro to Crypto is a great place to start. It's only $29. So basically for the price of a takeaway pizza, you get all the info you need to start with altcoins. How to set up your wallet, how to buy Ethereum, how to transfer crypto between wallets, how to find altcoins on CoinGecko, how to then buy them on Uniswap, all the stuff that you need to start investing in this space. And what's really important is that we are at the point where it's still quite easy to do so. The market is not moving very fast. Yeah, sure, sometimes a video by some big influencer will come out and suddenly coins will start pumping. But generally, the market is still quite steady. Gas is relatively low on Ethereum. I mean, it's always expensive to do transactions on Ethereum, but if you look at current gas prices, I mean, currently it's 17 gwei. This number will go up to like 100 gwei, 200 gwei when the market is heating up. Also, Ethereum is currently about 3,300. It will easily hit $5,000, $10,000 in this market cycle, and it would be outrageously expensive to do any transactions on Ethereum. So basically, if you're not taking any action now, then you are just putting yourself at a massive disadvantage later on in the market cycle. Crypto is all about being early. And in my view, this is the last opportunity to be early in this bull run. Again, not financial advice, but this is how I see it. I think that's it. I hope you found this video interesting. If you have any thoughts, comments, please put them in the comment section. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.